Obviously, the internet and new technologies have spread in the last years. It's not something like very self-evident, but it's good to mention. The spread of digital means also have favored not only legal operators and activities, but also illegal ones. So two cliches, if I could say, two myths regarding e-trafficking is that ICT crime, like information and communication technology crime, is limited to cyber crimes. Therefore, we have in our heads that idea that e-trafficking is referring to kind of like some high-tech or computer-related crimes that are committed by high-skilled offenders. So that you know, there's some people that are somewhere in a room and are very good hackers and like have a very high-tech knowledge and they're high-skill offenders. So this is a common myth when it has to do with crime related to new technologies, that we are limited to cyber crimes, and we have this idea that these high-tech crimes were committed by high-skilled offenders. Another myth is that online criminal activities take exclusively place in the dark web. So I will refer to that. What we need to kind of think here is that criminal actors are rational and profit oriented. So what they care is money, and they are very rational about their decisions and how they operate. So the second myth that I said is the one where online activities, online activities take part in the dark web. Now we hear the dark web, it's the part of the web that is not accessible via specific browsers and tools. Tor, if you've heard of Tor, it's called the onion router. It's designed, for example, for encryption and layered encryption and anonymity. So you can actually use Tor to browse without being detected, your IP. Here, when you use Tor, for example, your data messages are protected by script encryption and decryption tools. Random URLs are exchanged, and you can pay also in Bitcoins. So that's what's going on the dark web, right? Surfer's web is what we call the part of the internet which is usually accessible to anyone by using any common browser like Chrome, Firefox, and search engine. So what I need also here to underline that even if the dark web has obviously fostered and enhanced the sale of illicit goods and services, many criminal activities are carried out on the surface web, out in the open, basically. So it's a very convenient myth to kind of think that there's these high-tech people that are in the dark web and they are cooking stuff, quote cooking, that's a Greek, I mean they're preparing stuff, cyber crime, criminal, and we don't have access to it, etc. So it actually is carried out on the surface web. It's very accessible to everyone, right? So cybercrime versus crime digitalization. So what we need also to bear here is that ICT crime is not limited to cybercrime. So as I said, it's no high-tech or computer-related crimes only, right? So it doesn't. When we talk about crime digitalization and cybercrime are not the same thing. So when we're talking about information and communication technologies crime, we should bear in mind that it's not limited to the cyberspace. It's not something that actually takes place only in the cyber environment. So now we have here new crimes, which are the cyber-dependent crimes. It's basically criminal behaviors that were not possible without new technologies. For example, when your computer is infected with malware, data breaches, ransomware attacks, malicious software, illegal access to IT systems. These are cyber-dependent crimes. The kind of crimes when somebody, for example, hacks the computer of the Bank of Greece and gets the codes and gets all the money, right? Something like that. So these are new crimes that are cyber dependent. Now we have new forms of traditional crimes. So here is something that is related with trafficking. The use of deceptive behaviors to defraud unwary victims, especially for monetary purposes. This is a very old phenomenon. Traffickers or people that want to deceive others use the internet because it reduces costs. It maximizes the potential, the pool of potential victims. So, so we have new forms of traditional crimes, right? So we have, for example, what I mentioned as phishing attacks, or like online romance scams, or catfishing. All these, the phishing, the hunting and the fishing are basically new forms of traditional crimes, right? So the other part is new facilitators of traditional crimes. So it's a sort of a set of criminal activities that are facilitated through the use of information and communication technology, while they still remain traditional in their core. For example, traffickers exploit the potential of the internet to advertise their services. They maximize the audience of potential clients in this way. So in this case, it is not a new crime, and it's neither a new crime nor a new form of a traditional crime, but it's an illegal activity facilitated by new technologies. So, for example, migrant smuggling can also be facilitated because they do. You will find, if you Google, for example, in Arabic, right, and you Google, for example, travel to Europe, you will probably find posts and ads, advertisements about, you know, with this amount of money, you can meet here, and I will transfer you to Europe. So technology is used to facilitate illegal activities, right? So it's not a new crime, or it's not a new form of traditional crime. It's used as a facilitator of traditional crimes. And at the end, we have other impacts because obviously the organizational structure of trafficking networks has changes with the use of new technology. Communication strategies also shift communication strategies within the trafficking ring, right? And the profiles of potential victims also change because with the internet we have new vulnerable targets and behaviors, right? So what we need to say here is that e-trafficking, as I want to repeat again here before we go to our exercise, is not a matter of skilled hackers, right? Because this is an ongoing myth. It's not a matter of skilled hackers that are dealing with complicated malicious attacks online. It refers to rational, basically criminal entrepreneurs who are exploiting the potential of the internet and new technologies to facilitate or modify a little bit their traditional illegal work. So I think that's important to kind of like take with you from these three slides.